Good evening, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Good morning, everyone. It's morning where I am.
All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We are accepting people in already. Uh, so let's chill a bit. That's and the facilitator is also on their way, about to join as well. So let's stay. In 5 to 8 minutes, we should proceed fully. Thank you so much for joining, and we are all for a wonderful ride. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. We will be starting very shortly, in less than 3 minutes. And some of our facilitators are here already. In 3 minutes, we just want some people to also join, some of the participants to also join, then we can start fully. So thank you so much for coming. We would like to get to know more about you. Like, where are you, joining us from? Are you joining us from Lagos? Okay, thank you so much, Shooks from Aba, Nigeria. Ayomide from Lagos. We can just keep it rolling. Right. Thank you so much, everyone. Keep it rolling. All right, so Abib from Lagos. Yeah. In 2 minutes time, we should get started. I will introduce the facilitator, and it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful ride together. Okay, guys. Good day once again. My name is Emmanuel Oluwagbemi, and I'm the convener of this event, the Imran Network. So the Imran Network is actually a community of founders, business leaders, and we just started, which means that we are pioneering it with this event. And based on our previous work, working with founders, business owners across locally and globally, we've been able to identify some of the key areas at which founders, need proper orientation and access with, which is why we launched the Imron Network to provide, effective access for founders across the world, such that they can have access to the right market insights and also have access to the right information, right resources, and all of that. So, and though this webinar, you're welcome everyone to this webinar. This webinar will be having a in-depth review on, real pitch deck review from our facilitators. And our first facilitator for today will be Shita, right? So I'll be reading out. Give me a minute, guys. So I'll be reading out our biography in a second. But first of all, I would like to welcome each and every one of us for taking their time to be here, and not to worry, you'll be seeing a lot of us. You'll be seeing a lot of this program where we are going to be inviting top tier entrepreneurs, business leaders on various pressing needs, pertaining to your business, per industries, per sector. Okay, so I would love for you guys to welcome Shita. So while I'll be reading our biography. So I don't know if you guys can see my screen as I proceed to read our biography. So Shita GK is the founder of Estrat, a boutique advisory firm that partners with early and growth stage startup to build strong legal and compliance foundation for scale. She specializes in making startups investor ready through corporate structuring, regulatory alignment, and strategic expansion planning. She's also the co-founder of Blue All Technologies, an AI-powered e-commerce cataloging platform transforming how fashion and lifestyle brands go to market across digital platforms. With over a decade of experience in startup advisory and fundraising enablement, Shita brings deep experts in go-to-market strategy, cross-border incorporation, shareholder agreements, and governance. She also serves as an independent director, contributing to business growth. With an applaud, can we please welcome Shita as she takes the mic. Thank you so much. Welcome, Shita. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing good. Thanks, Emmanuel. Thank you so much for that. So yeah, hi everyone. So I'm Sheetal. So I'm from India. I'm a strategic consultant and founder of Elstrat, where we help the founders from idea to scaling, right from and getting them investment ready from pitch deck or it is an agreement. Also, we have a technical consultancy. We take care of everything just from the idea to scaling for the startups. So I'll just share my screen. So I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, your screen is visible.
Okay, yeah, so I'll start. So my topic for today is crafting a compelling pitch. So we'll cover what is a pitch deck, what are the essentials to be covered in a pitch deck, and why common mistakes the founders make while in a pitch deck. So to start with the pitch. So pitch is something which every founder, right, where they have to master in, that is like their baby. They have to know what they're conveying to, what is their product all about. So we can say pitch is not just a product, it is your story. It is what you want to convey them. And it is the founder's vision, which we are conveying to the investor. Why pitching matters? So pitch, as I said, it is like a story which we are going to convey to the investors to tell them why you need it, right? So it is kind of an opening, like a door is opens if your pitch is really good, or it may even shut. We got only first 3 minutes to make the first impression. So this is like a first impression where the investors is listening to you. So within the 3 minutes, if you're able to convey your story, what you are building, and this is what which is really needed currently, and people are ready to buy your product, so that's where you're able to crack it. So if it's a great pitch, you can even open the doors for fundraising, or it's a partnership, or it's good for the visibility. And even this clarifies what is your business model all about. And it gives you the confidence and in the investor the confidence that you are able to do this. This is the product which you are building is actually apt currently in the market. So while pitching, what are the three things which you have to emphasize on? The three C's we can say it's one is the clarity, the confidence, and conviction. So always have the clarity in what you do and the confidence. Your confidence shows that the what you're building is actually right to the investors. So speak with the confidence and conviction. Few common mistakes the founders make while pitching. They lack the clarity of the problem and solution. When we are conveying or when you're pitching, what normally does is we tell the entire story in maybe in like 10 minutes or 20 minutes, trying to convey what you're building, the features, a lot of things. But the actual thing, the clarity of what is the problem or what is the solution you are bringing, if that is not able to convey, then the pitch fails. So first thing we have to do is with a lot of clarity, you have to tell the problem and the solution. Then the investor perspective. Investor perspective is very important to whom you are actually pitching to. Maybe the investor is in your domain, whether that investor has the interest in your product, whether he has already got some experience in it. Try to learn about who's the investor and then try to pitch according to his perspective. Maybe we can have 2 to 3 pitch deck, tweet and take like their perspective thing, you can pitch it. If the investor perspective is not there and if you're pitching it, then the pitch will not even reach them and the story will not be conveyed. Feature heavy. So when you're talking about your pitches, like what is your product about, just dumping up with features and not talking the importance of it, and the story is not able to convey, then the pitch will not be reaching it in a proper way. Ask, Ask is very important, right? So most of the founders, they end up without the ask. So the investor will not know what is your actual need. So either it will be a weak ask or the ask might be missing. So ask is very important about how you are going to pitch and why it is important and what is your ask which you're going to do, whether you want 1 million or 2 million and why is it, how you're going to take it forward. So ask is important. Understanding the audience, so all the audience may not be the same, right? So understanding audience is very important who you're pitching to, maybe to an investor for asking for money, or it can be to any accelerated program, or it can be in a pitching competition. So always try to know who your audience are before you try to pitch. So understanding audience is very important. So investors, you normally they don't fund for the products. They look if the product is like fundable and if there is a business actually exists and it is scalable. So that is very important. Start with why. When the Simon's rule, which says that why the product, what is the cause, and why what you believe in. So that is very important. If the why is correct, the problem is there. Then it follows the how and what, how you're building and everything. So why is very important in a startup. The pitch structure. So when you're pitching, always keep this in mind. Start with the hook. Don't stay that by your name, like, okay, I'm the founder. Instead, that I said the 3 minutes of the time where you are able to convey the investor what you're looking for, grab the attention. So maybe you can start with some statistics or some story or like a question, some stats like whatever you are related to, 70% of so and so is important in the market, or the story of what you're building. So whatever you're building, there will be some story behind it, right? Maybe you would have identified the problem by yourself, or in a team might be suffering from it, or from your family or a friends. You identified that the problem exists, right? So that is the reason you started building a product, or that is the reason you started doing this business. So try to convey by telling them a story, or ask like a question like, suppose if you're doing something with product photography, so you can like ask can anyone purchase from an online store without a product photo? No, right? So that is like a question. It is like bringing them a curious into like, what is your product about? Okay, this is something problem is there, and that is the reason they are building it. So try to grab the attention by asking these in the hook in the beginning. Then after that, start in the middle portion with the problem, your solution, which I'll explain in detail what are needs to be needed in a pitch deck. Always end with a call to action. So call to action is very important. So why are you here for the pitch? What is your ask? What you want? So the call to action. So always end with a call to action. So follow the structure, which will give the impression to the investor, okay, you are building something and this is your ask and this is the problem exists. Okay, so this is what you're building. Now let's see the essential things which need to be there in a pitch deck. So while crafting your pitch deck, these are the few essentials which you have to include in your pitch deck. One is a problem. As I said, always start with the problem. So what is the issue you're solving? So why is this important right now? So is it what which the target audience, is it like, are they experiencing this issue? Okay, so you can tell them with the statistics or some kind of any data currently which is available that there is this problem exists in the market and this is what we are trying to solve. So show that problem statement clearly in the first deck. Once the problem statement is done, second, always follow with the solution. So solution is like, how are you going to solve the problem? So always in the solution slide, have your USP. What is your unique selling proposition? So how are you different from others? What is that which you have, which is trying to solve? Either it be a tech thing or some MVP which you have. So try, how are you going to solve this problem in the second slide? And if you have a demo ready, keep it, but don't show at the demo in the beginning because we'll have few things. You can ask the investor if they are ready to see the demo, or if the investor asks for it, show the demo if you have. That will really give a validity that your product already exists and you are in a good stage. The market opportunity. The third thing which you need to include is the market opportunity. How big is your market? So market is really important. So investors always looking to a market. So we have to include what is your TAM, total accessible market. Out of that, what is your SOM, serviceable, obtainable market from there. So show that this is a market opportunity. How big is your market from this? Who are your target customers? How are you going to reach them? And this is the market which you are going to solve. And these are your customers. So have a small GTM there and always show the market opportunity in this slide. Next comes the business model. So once the market is done, and we also need to know, right, how are you going to make the money? So business model is very important. Is that revenue? How are you going to generate your revenue? So show them it can be if it's a SaaS means to the subscription model, or it can be a freemium, or maybe D2C brands, or like a commission. So how are you going to generate the money from your target customer? So that should be already clearly mentioned about your revenue model. The traction can be like some progress or early wins. So if you're not even in a revenue generation stage, if your revenue generation stage, always show what is your revenue. If you don't have a revenue generation, you can always show them some pilots. You have like early onboarded any pilots or some testimonials, or if you have like websites or app downloads. So show them that, okay, there is something which is happening and people are ready to buy your product and there is something which is going on. So show them the traction slide. The competitive analysis. The next thing which is very important is the competitors. So always competitors are better, and you think don't think like, okay, competitors are bad. In one way, investors always look for the competitors. If there are competitors, that means that your product already is like the need in the market, right? So but what you have to show in a competitive analysis is take your any three competitors, show how different are you from them. Maybe you can show it like the feature wise or cost wise, maybe in a graphical presentation. Show them how different are you from the competitors and what is the USP there. So in that way, it's easy to understand for the investors that, okay, this is how you are different and this is what your USP is. Next is the financials. So in the financials, you can show the key metrics which you're using, or you can show the projections or the revenues which you have generated right now, and what is your 3 years projections look like, or 5 years projections look like. But don't show the entire thing in the financials. You can keep the financials simple and crisp, only the what is actually right now needed, one slide, and the rest you can keep it in the annexure. If the investors ask for more, then you can show the complete financials. Next, very, very important is the team. So most of the investors they look into the team than the product, because they want to know whether you're the right person to solve this problem, right? So the team slide is very important. When the team slide, you can show about your experiences in the domain expertise or your qualifications, whether you had any future access, whatever the startups or anything. So show the team. Also in along with your team, like your co-founders, you can also show your advisors or mentors who are helping with you along with the team. You can show there also in the team. The next is the call to action. As I said in the first, also call to action is very important. Whoever is looking at your pitch deck need to know what exactly are you, where exactly are you, what is your stage right now, whether are you in an MVP stage, and what are you looking for. So along with the call to action, what is the money you're seeking for? Always show them that how you're going to utilize that. So if at all you're asking for 1 million or 2 million, how are you going to utilize it? Whether it's for your product development or is it for your marketing activities? So even that is very important to show them that a clear picture that you are using this money for a proper business purpose. So how you're going to utilize it. That gives them a clarity of that you're not just seeking for the money, but you're also going to use them in a proper way to scale this business, which is very, very important. Now, when you're pitching, so as I said, when you're pitching in the beginning, it's a don't start with your name. Always start with the problem, what you're trying to solve. And then always end a pitching with a CTA. That is whether it's a funding or a partnership. Within that, like you have heard of an elevator pitch, right? So within that 1 minute, you should able to convey them that this is what you're building and this is what you are looking for. So if that is really ready, then your pitch has got very, very easy way to reach to it's a better clarity for the investor to understand what is the pitch all about. So now it is some of the common mistakes which a pitch deck contains. So in a pitch deck, whenever you are doing a pitch deck, there'll be too much of information loaded with a lot of jargons, a lot of informations, a lot of text, which is not required. In a pitch deck, it should be always simple and crisp. It's very easy for opposite person to understand what is your business about. It need not contain long text or long information. If you can show any kind of images or graphical representation, it will be very easy because images, right? The visuals transfer more than the text. So if you can include that, it is much better. So avoid too much of information. Just keep it very crisp and simple. Then other mistake which normally it's exists is the weak storytelling. So there won't be any flow in it. It'd be like a cluster. Like starting will be it's a solution, then the later stage will be the problem what you're solving, and in between it comes with the market, and the order won't be right. So it will be like a total cluster, and the story is not connecting. So always have the connection, the story connecting, like how you're building it, why you're building it. So that story should be there. So weak storytelling is another one of the common mistakes with saving. And very important, as I always said, is a call to action. Many slides, they will not have a call to action. So when you're sending to the investors or when you're pitching, they don't even understand what exactly are you looking for. So call to action is very important. Too technical. If at all you're doing some technical products, if you're telling it in a too technical way, the opposite person may not even understand. So keep it very like, let's featureless. No, don't add a lot of features and a lot of the importance and everything. Keep it to the minimal, like any person, any layman can understand it. So don't keep it more technical. Unrealistic financial numbers. So when you're doing about your financials, your projections of 5 years or 3 years, don't do it like very real, like unrealistic way, for them to think, okay, this is really going to happen or not. So always keep it in a realistic financials, which you can actually achievable. So go for an achievable, like good financials, which is practically possible. No proper framework or ignorance of the audience. So if you're pitching, have that maximum of 10 to 12 slides in a pitch deck, which can be coverable. Rest, if you have anything, you can always put it in the annexure, but try to convey it in a proper timed manner, maximum of 5 to 6 minutes in a pitch, and maybe to the extension of 10 minutes, not even more than that, 10 minutes, which normally includes with question and answer. So try to cover it in 7 to 8 minutes, your pitch. So have that proper time frame in a pitch deck. So now some tips which we can deliver with some impact. So to have a positive impact on the investor, so what you can do is maybe you can practice like before a pitching. You can practice out loud and get the feedback maybe to your co-founders or to your family or your friends, anyone who are comfortable with, or just practice out loud and get their feedback. What is it? Then rehearse with a timer. So always timer is very important. So speak with clarity, speak with what condition, that what exactly you are speaking with within that proper time frame. Keep one idea per pitch. So normally, if you have like 2 to 3 ideas, also don't mix it up in a pitch deck. Always in a pitch deck, you go for a one idea. So what is your idea which you're currently going to solve? Don't mix all the ideas into a pitch deck, which the investors will think that you're vague, you don't know what exactly you're doing, and your vision is not matching. So always go with one idea, and this is one problem which you are actually solving. Use always the spoken words than complicated text which is not, and don't read it. So try to convey them with what you understand, what is your product all about. So use the normal words how you speak, like that, try to convey with the investor. So that brings them, very for them to relate it to it. Okay, there's some story which is happening and this is what they're building it. So that gives them more kind of, they will also feel to it. Okay, they'll also get interested that, okay, this is something which is very building is right now. And pause, breathe, and then do it. So that that gives them a thing. Okay, they can also think about, and they're also okay, we are on the same page. They'll also know what exactly you are talking right now. So always go for a good pause and then explain your product after each slide. So some final checklist before your pitch. So these are something which you can take into consideration before you go for a pitch. See that your message is clear in the first 3 slides. As I said, the 3 minutes of your time where the investors will actually look into. So if within the 3 minutes, if they are able to understand your product, then the doors are open for you. You can get the funding. So that is important as the pitch thing. So if your message is clear in the first 3 slides, what is your problem and what is the solution which you are solving right now, then it's well and good. The next thing, can you explain your startup to a 15-year-old? That means it's that simple, the opposite person should understand. So much of clarity should be there. If your 15-year-old is able to understand what product you're building, that means that anybody can understand. So if opposite person only understand what product you're building, then only he will can say that whether this is investable product or it is a fundable product and everything. So you should make sure that that's simple, you are able to explain your product. It should always sounds like you believe in your idea. So you should have that confidence. So when you speak with the confidence that this idea is really good and what I'm building right now is really important in the market and the people are ready to buy. So if you have that confidence, the opposite person can take that, and then that confidence gives them the confidence too. So always believe in your idea first. To know your numbers. So before any pitch, know what is your customer acquisition cost, what is any key metrics which you need, or the TAM, SAM, SOM. Have to have all these numbers ready because that is very important before any pitch. Have a clear, specific ask. So to wrap up, pitch, I'll say as like pitch is just not a presentation, right? So it is some story which you are trying to say. It is like, what are you building right now and why is it important? So pitch contains the essentials of all that, your details which you need to write, from the problem statement to the ask. It contains the complete. It is like a business model, you can see. You have a business plan. This is a shorter version of a business plan, which is crisp and simple, which the investor will look into it and identify that this is a problem and there is a solution for it, and there is a target customers who are ready to buy this product, and it is scalable. If all these things are ready and you have a good team to take this forward, then it is an investable product, right? So you need to see that it is a scalable product and there is some wealth maximization to it, and you're able to reach to the next level. You should know your audience. So always before pitching, know your audience. Whom are you pitching to? Is it whether you're pitching to an investor or you're pitching in different forums? So understand your audience first and then talk to them, because each investors or each accelerator program may not be the same, right? So try to get a details about them, collect about some little research on them. What are they currently doing it? Which are they into your domain? Are they really needed? And then go for it. So try to understand your audience first. Keep it clear, short, and confident. So always, whenever you're pitching, have that clarity. It should be very crisp, clear, and that confidence in your speak. Anticipate the questions. So always the investors will ask you questions. So anticipate the questions well in advance, and then see, like practice it, and then see the probable questions. Maybe it can be the financials, or maybe it can be about your go-to-market. So anticipate the questions and be prepared for it. Your job is to make the investors believe that this product like you are the person to do the product, right? So if you are able to convey that to the investor, then your job is done right. So keep that in mind and then prepare for the pitch. Follow up with the audience. So if at all you're going for a pitch once a competition, or if the investors run, don't stop there. You should follow up for the next session or ask for a next meeting and then explain in detail. If at all you feel that any investor is really good at, they are having any positive response to it, follow up with them. Don't stop after this, and then go to them, ask them for a meeting or a cup of coffee just to discuss it, and the financials and everything ready with you, so that if they were asked about the valuation of your company or about the financial projections, be ready and then show it. And before detailing about everything and like in the later stage, just sign an NDA and then go for the complete discussion. In the pitch deck, all your confidential matters, don't keep it. Just keep only what is publicly you can available. The rest you can confidential, you can keep it. Like maybe the patents, you can share the patent or whatever, anything which you wanted to show them, which can be done only after signing an NDA in the next follow up the meeting. So yeah, so with this, I'm just concluding, like any ideas which start small, we can build it together. So yeah, thanks. So yeah, so any questions or any doubts? Yeah, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you so much, Shita. So this is a question and answer session right now. So if you have a question for Shita, you could please raise up your hand while you ask, and if you do not, we could actually wait for the next sessions. Okay, so thank you so much, guys. Okay, I think Ayomide said it's very, very insightful. Thank you so much, Shita, for that wonderful, breakdown. All right, so we have some couple of people. Chooks, you have a question? His hand is raised, so Chooks, go first. All
Yes,
right.
good evening, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Chita, for the presentation. Well, my name is Drew DK, co-founder and CEO of UGR.net, a revolutionary travel platform to simplify bus travel and hotel accommodation bookings in Nigeria. So my question is, when pitching, how many people do you think should be on stage? Just the head, the CEO, or should like 2 or 3 people be on stage? And how should we coordinate the who talks now, who talks second? Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. So normally for a pitch, it's always one person go on the stage and he does the pitching. If at all you want to include your co-founder, you can take them. Maybe like you can divide it, but always try to match the time period. If at all the pitching, right, mostly like 7 to 8 minutes. So if you are able to match the time period, both of them can divide. It's well and good. Else you can cover one topic, like on he can just show the demo part, or if anything, the technical part. If he's good at, maybe he can take up the technical part. Otherwise, just one person is more than enough to take your product forward. I think, is there anything else? Okay, great.
Okay, I believe one person is raising up his or her hand. I don't know if the person can speak or drop your question in the chat box so that she can answer that. But if you have your question
Sure.
as well after Mr. Joan's session, you could combine all of the questions as well, and we can answer it. So thank you so much, Shita. It's a very
Thank you.
wonderful and insightful session. The people are, we are very much happy to have you, and
Thank you.
we can actually have another Q&A after Mr. Joan has had this conversation, this session.
Sure.
So thank you so much. So I'll be hey guys, I'll be introducing our next facilitator, who is Mr. Joan Wishart. And I'll be walking you guys through his biography quickly. Right. So a minute while Okay, guys. So Joan Wishart is the CEO of G. Wishart and Associates and a seasoned business leader with over 35 years of experience across 14 industries. He specializes in strategic management, business transformation, and expansion into African markets. Joan is a general partner at Synagros Venture Capitals, focusing on agri-tech, fintech, and healthcare startup in Africa, and a venture partner at VU Venture Partners, a global $100 million VC fund. He also served as a business transformation advisor for the Stanford Seed Transformation Program. Joan holds an MBA from WIS Business School and is a certified leadership coach, mentor, mediator, and part-time lecturer in executive education. So guys, with a round of applause, let's welcome Mr. Joan Wishart as he takes the stage.
Hey everyone,
Right.
Thank you very much for that introduction. Emmanuel, can you hear me? Just checking my sound. Everybody can hear me?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear. Thank you so much, sir, for joining.
Fantastic.
Yeah, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. It was for the introduction, and Sheetal for the presentation that you've done. There's very little that I can add to that, so I'm going to not go through the formal presentation because it follows the same sort of structure. You've seen it from Sheetal now. I'm going to quickly run through some of the same slides. You'll see some of the same stories, but what I want to do is to try and rather speak to some of the points and elaborate from my perspective. So if I share my slides, let's want to see share here. There, and you can do. Can you see my slides now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So that's a little bit about me, some of the countries in Africa that I've worked in. You've had the introduction. What I typically do in these presentations, similar to what Sheetal has done, is to just understand what is investment readiness and then looking at assessing your business, what is important for investors. Before we talk about the same questions that she's dealt with already in the winning formula that she's presented to you. But maybe we can discuss it a little bit and you can raise your hand for questions during the discussion. And we can just pick up on some of the ideas that have already been raised. Just in terms of investment readiness, like Sheeta has also said, it's very important that you have a clear vision of what it is that you want to achieve. And that is scalable. Because remember, at the end of the day, you are going in, want to raise funds and finance for your venture. You must understand, a VC investor like myself, also getting investors to invest in my funds so that I can invest in you. And at the end of the day, your project, your business needs to be scalable. It needs to show me that when I invest in your business, there will be a growth potential that my funding will unlock. I must be able to assist you, and I'll talk about that a little bit later when we talk about what do you look for in an investor. Is it just money, or is it also the connections and introductions that the investor brings? But the first important thing that you need to understand is if you aren't able in that elevator pitch in the very opening slide to articulate what is the vision that you have and how scalable is it, it's going to be very difficult to convince me to take other people's money and invest in that business. And Sheeta has also already spoken about the financials. Have short financials, but to the core, to the main points, and have a fuller set of financials that is available that you can explain the financial figures of the business. Now, on financials, I would like to highlight that you mustn't just look at the money that because I've never seen a business pitch deck that hasn't made millions, that hasn't been tremendously successful. Nobody's going to pitch you a pitch deck with financials that's not looking incredibly positive. What I'm looking for when I'm looking at pitch decks is how much money is it going to cost me? And what if we do not succeed? What if the financials that you've presented to me does not happen exactly like we're projecting it? Because we all know we live in life and life happens and it doesn't always play out as we anticipated, as we planned. And the worst thing for an investor is to be half in. You're halfway towards reaching this goal, but you've ran out of capital. So I need to also see, if I back you now, if I invest in a business, what is the likelihood of more money being required, and what is that amount until we reach that ultimate goal? And then another important aspect is it needs to be sustainable growth. You need to demonstrate and show to us that you will be able to sustain this growth that you're projecting going forward. Some common gaps. Sheeta has also spoken about the common mistakes. Okay. Now, I'm not going to elaborate too much on this, on the same points that she's already made, but many times you do not have the correct documentation to show me. Okay. Sheeta has spoken about being too technical and unrealistic financial numbers, or too much information. But what is the critical core elements that is required for your business to succeed and to reach the goal? Is there intellectual property? Is there regulation that you need to adhere to? I invest in medical startups. Now, the medical regulation is different from country to country. So how do you get to also show me, without going into too much information, just high level, at least address and touch on regulatory aspects, or if you're in the banking and the financial sector, there's also a highly regulated industry. So do not make the mistake of going, like Sheetal said, with too much information, but also do not make the mistake of missing out core elements that is required to make your business a success. Another aspect is value proposition. I think one of the value proposition is one of the most overlooked aspects of pitching. Understanding that it's all about a customer need. Okay, you are solving some customers' need, and if you don't clearly understand what that need is, and that is referred to as a value proposition. What is the real value? My explanation I always use is nobody buys a Mont Blanc pen for $1,000 merely as a writing instrument. People buy it for various other reasons other than the fact that you are writing with it. And that is what a value proposition is. The value proposition is what is the real value that the customer has when using your product. And many times, one of the gaps is that founders come and they pitch you their product. They come and tell you what the solution is. And they don't tell you really what the customer need is. What is the value proposition for the customer that the customer gets in using this service? Now, a common story I use is when cell phones was invented and commercialized in the early mid-90s. The common perception was that Africa is not going to be a potential market because the disposable income of people in Africa, across Africa, is not enough to afford, or so they thought, afford the high cost of cell phones. Yet, if we now look back on history, Africa's got the highest cell phone use in the world, the highest level of cell phones in the world, because people looked at it from the wrong perspective. They didn't understand the value proposition. A cell phone is not a luxury in Africa, where there's no other form of communication. And if you've got a business, there's no other way for you to be in contact with customers if you do not have a cell phone. Okay, so completely misunderstood the value proposition when they did the cell phone experiment and when they looked at cell phones early. So be very clear about your value proposition. What is the value proposition that you have? And then something that was also touched on was the inadequate understanding of the investor. Now, Sheetal spoke to Sheetal spoke about understanding your target audience, which is a very important aspect, but I would like to go a little bit further. Understanding your target audience when you're pitching your presentation to investors also means to understand what is your investor interested in. We all have areas of interest, and for an investor, he is tied by a very strict investment thesis, investment agreement that he has, investment mandate with the people whose money he's investing. Remember, it is not my own money. I'm not spending my own money. As an angel investor, I'm using my own money. But it's not entirely the fund isn't entirely my own money that I can do whatever I so chooses. I've got an investment mandate that defines, and that I went to my investors that invested, my limited partners, LPs, that has invested in my fund, that I need to convince to give me the money. And I gave them an investment mandate. And I said, this is where I will use your money. So you need to understand what your investor that you're pitching to, your VC, what is his mandate? What is he allowed to invest in? If you don't understand my investment mandate, my investment interest areas, you'll be approaching me, and I do get that. I get hundreds of pitches every day, and half of those I cannot invest in because it falls outside of my investment mandate. Okay, in the introduction, you've heard that I invest in agri-tech, fintech, and health tech. Okay, so that's a dedicated fund that focuses on 3 specific areas. So anybody can come with me with the greatest project that doesn't fall in those areas. I'm unable to invest in that purely because my investment mandate is specifically relating to specific areas. So understanding your investor is a very important aspect. What does he invest in? What can he invest in? What is his interests? And I can tell you a little bit of a story about that. The reason why I chose those 3 areas very specifically is because if you go to my LinkedIn profile, if you go to any of my social media profiles, you'll see that I say that I'm a passionate activist for the economic development of Africa. So for me, it's all about Africa. Now, anybody coming with an investment opportunity outside of Africa, unless it's something that's really in my personal interest areas, which will make me consider a small investment, and because of some other reason, if you bring me any investments outside of that sphere, I won't be interested or able to invest in that. And the reason for that being that my investments and my fund is focused on developing Africa. So the reason why I chose those particular 3 areas is because 60% of Africa is subsistence farmers, and we need to change the subsistence farmers into commercial farmers if we want to make a difference in Africa. Once you've got subsistence farmers and you've turned them into commercial farmers, there will be a big need for moving money. We've got 54, 55 different countries in Africa. Moving money across the continent is very difficult. Okay, different currencies, exchange regulations. So that's why fintech is an important area to develop, so that when the farmers that have started making money with their money can invest their money and can trade and can do transfers. So this is the reason for the second vertical that I've chosen. And then the third vertical, because of the increasing urbanization of people moving away from rural areas into cities, we're changing our diets. People are eating differently because they're now not where they used to live, and they don't eat the foods and the food sources that was close to them, close at hand when they were living in rural areas. And now in moving to more urban areas, they're changing their diet. And the result of that is that we've got the highest prevalence of what we call rich world disease, hypertension, diabetes, things that we never had in Africa. We never struggled with that. Now we've got the highest prevalence of that globally, the fastest growing in the disease sector. So those are the 3 areas. Now, just to point to the fact that understanding your investor, if you're approaching me and you're talking about any of those 3 areas, you've got my attention. I'd be interested to listen, because I have a specific reason why I chose those 3 areas. So just like Sheetal has said, to understand your audience, understand the individual that you are pitching to, so that you can understand what it is that he's interested in. Okay, there's some questions that I thought I'll deal with that now. And then just quickly, this has already been discussed, but one of the most important aspects for me in a pitch deck is your market potential. I want to see, if I invest in you, that your business is going to be doing tremendously well. And that projection upwards is only possible, and I'll only be able to return the funds that I have borrowed, or not borrowed, but got invested from investors, if your business is doing very well. And in order for your business to do very well, there must be a big enough market potential. There needs to be a significant addressable market, and your projections, just like the graph there in the background shows, must be able to go, and your company needs to be able to grow to such an extent that it will return the funds that has been invested in you, and that I can then make an upside, which will be invested in further companies. We don't want to take all the money that we've raised, invest it in the first company, and it doesn't give the returns. Now because then nobody else is going to get any money. Now, this is one of the areas that's very controversial. People have been complaining about Africa and about venture capital investors wanting high returns. But you must understand, put yourself in the position of the investor. Okay, you need to take the money that you've got and make it multiplied in such a way that I can return money to my investors and still have got money then left over for the next round of investment. And if I give my investors their money back and they've made a good return, they'll give me more money and they'll tell their friends, and their friends and will also start investing. That's how we're going to change Africa around. That's how we're going to make sure that there's going to be more investors looking at Africa and looking at opportunities. I spent some time in Silicon Valley. In the beginning of the introduction, you heard that I'm a partner in a VC fund in Silicon Valley. And the way that I explain it to everyone is it's almost like living in a small village where everybody plays the lotto. And the reason why they play the lotto is because everyone in Silicon Valley knows someone personally, a family member or a friend, that has made a lot of money in this investment area. So everybody wants to invest because everybody likes backing winners. Now, until we have got exits, proper exits where investors have made money and they start telling their friends about how successful their investments have been in Africa, until we realize that, we're going to always struggle with convincing investors to part with their money. And they'll only part with their money once they've made money in investments in Africa. And in order for that, you need to have a big enough market for the product that you're selling, so that the upside can return the investors' funds. Second point, value proposition. I've spoken about the value proposition already, and emphasize the fact that it's a need. Okay? Tell me what is the need. Don't tell me what your product is. Tell me what the need is of a real customer that you are solving. Next is your team. Sital also explained a team, and the reason why team is so important, because investors back teams. Investors back people that they believe in. Just think about yourself. Okay, think about a sports team that you are following. Okay, it's built around core capabilities. Now, just like a sports team, we all have a sports team that we follow. Okay, if it's South Africa, we've got Bafana Bafana. They're not doing terribly well in the soccer these days, but the team is the team capability is the reason why people want to go and see the matches. Investors is the same. They want to know that your team is experienced and capable, and that they've got the skills and the ability to make this a success. If I don't believe your team can do it, if you aren't able to convince me that your team is really able to deliver this project, it'll be very difficult for me to convince my investment team to invest in us. And then operational readiness. You must be able to scale the business that you've got. Okay, there must be at least some traction. Sital has also spoken about that. That there must be a team that we believe in that can scale the business. So being able to have some traction, some customers already shows me that there's interested people in buying into your business. If you've got no customers, it'll be very difficult for me to believe and to see that this will become a massively successful investment. And then if you've got a business, how scalable is the processes that you've got? A typical assessment that I do, and I use, this is a sheet that we fill in where we look at the company, the industry that you're in, the stage, how much capital you want to raise, and then looking at the core elements of the target market that I've now explained to you. Who's the customers? What is their characteristics? How do we calculate the market size? Market size in Africa is very difficult because we're very difficult to get information about the size of the market, but it's getting a lot better now with a lot more research being done on the continent. So understanding as much as possible of the target market. and how big is that market and how fast is it growing. If you show me that it's a big market, but it's not going anywhere, it's not growing, okay, I don't want to invest in something that's not growing. I want to see a big market, so there's a lot of potential for me, but this market is expanding. I'll give you an example. I've invested in a computer game. It'll be the first computer game that uses the Bible as the exclusive storyline characters. And the gaming industry is $156 billion industry already. And it's growing at a compounded growth rate of 10% per annum, depending on what sector. Okay. Now, that is a massive market that is growing incredibly fast. That is a good place to invest. Again, that is not an African project, as I'm now talking against what I've said in the beginning, but because it's a religious concept for me, a religious project, you see again that what I referred to in the beginning. If you know me as an investor, you know what the touch point is of projects that will get my attention. Even it's a project that's not just for Africa. There's a huge application for Africa for the project as well. So it's not completely that it doesn't have an African application, but it's something that's close to my heart. And that's the reason why I've invested it. But you see how market size and the growth of the market is a very important aspect. And then you see the next line there where it talks about the real need, the need. What is the real problem? Okay. What is the real what is the problem that you're solving? And is it a short-term problem or is it a long-term problem? And then what is your solution? Is there a better, faster, or cheaper way? Have you got a stronger brand? What is the core value proposition that you have that you're going to solve differently? And then we spoke about revenue models and financials. Just an important aspect, though there, if you've got all these platform plays nowadays, where there is you get subscriber-based revenue. Now it's a fantastic business model, but you've heard Sheetal's refer to the LTV and the CAC. So just what is the lifetime value of a customer? How much money is a customer going to spend with you over the entire duration of their time as a customer? So that's the lifetime value. And if the lifetime value is $10 and it costs you only $1 cost of acquiring a customer, that's your CAC, the CAC, then it stands to reason that you make $9 for every customer that you sign on. Now, in that business, any investor will invest in you because for every $1 that he spends, he will get a $9 return. Okay, so it's important to understand what does it cost you to acquire a customer and how much money are you making out of a customer over a period of time? What is that lifetime value of the customer? Just as important as the market aspect is that we spoke about, the TAM, SAM, and SOM, and I'll give you a picture of that just shortly. So there is one slide that you could quickly show an investor how big is the market, what is the potential that you're aiming for, and you've got 4 assessment metrics are. What is the growth rate of the market? How quickly is that market expanding? Okay, in this instance, 20%. Now, a market that's growing at 20%, okay, is a market that will always be interested. How many team members have you got and what's their key capabilities? Okay, maybe use logos. Maybe use logos to show the places or the companies that these people have worked to demonstrate your team's ability. How long runway do you have? I've said in the beginning, one of the worst things for investors is to say, listen, we've ran out of money. We've invested $1 million with us and we've used that $1 million. And as life happened, it didn't achieve all the areas. We've encountered some problems because remember, there's always unexpected things that happens along the way. So I want to know how long is your runway? How much money have you got once I've given you my investment now? And how much money you need to raise thereafter to continually grow and scale the business? And the last aspect that's important is my exit. Okay, as I said in the beginning, think of this not as you as a founder that's looking at money. You must understand the investor's perspective as well. What is the exit that he's going to have? What is your expectation? Because at some stage, I know this is your baby and you want to grow it, but the investor needs to return the funds to his investors. I need to take the money out at some stage. I unfortunately cannot be your partner for life. Okay. For that, you have different type of investors. I need to invest and I need to exit. What is the exit expectation that we have once we've invested in you? Okay. And then the investor ready pitch deck that Sheetal is also already spoke about. So I'm not going to delve too much on this. The problem and the solution, the traction, financial projections, exit strategy. He had a little bit of a more bullet points. So yes, these are just some of the core elements, but I fully agree with craft your pitch, the winning formula that she's already sort of taking you through. So I don't want to spend too much time on that. And then one element that I'd like to just highlight is the deal room, your virtual deal room. Remember, she said also that you cannot put everything into your presentation. There needs to be backup information that I, as an investor, once you've convinced me that I've seen your pitch deck, maybe you email me a pitch deck, I've got a couple of minutes to go through the pitch deck. So you've got an opportunity, you got my attention like an elevator pitch to show me your pitch deck, and I scan through the pitch deck. Now I'm interested. It looks to be interesting because it's in one of my investment areas. Maybe it's in fintech, maybe it's in health tech, maybe it's in agriculture. And you've got something in your presentation that enticed me. And like Sheetal has said, you didn't give me too much information because otherwise there would be too much for me to go through. You would lose my concentration on the third slide. Okay. Have a deal room at hand, a virtual deal room where you save all the backup information that you wanted to give me, that's important for me to make a decision, but that I don't want to see in your pitch deck. That will be the place, a deal room will be the place that I'll go and delve into, to go through all the annexures, all the extra information that you wanted to show me. Things like, for instance, your business registration. Is the company even registered? Am I going to buy shares in a company? How many other investors there? I want to see the shareholders agreements. Okay. So that I know that what I'm investing in is a legitimate business. Secondly, what is the financial documents? Sheetal has explained to you that you do not have to put in all your financial documents in your pitch deck. I just want to see the line of what is the revenue and what is the expected returns, some of the core elements that you'll put in there that you'll show me. But audited financial statements, cash flows, all the other documents, all the other financial documents, I still need to look at. Okay. And that needs to be in your deal room. Due diligence information, customer contracts. You've just told me that you've got contracts and you've got clients. I want to see the contracts. I want to see that is legitimate contracts, that you have customers. What are you paying it? And I want to see that there's customers that are lined up. Regulatory and tax requirements also is important. I want to see the tax compliance, that you're compliant. In South Africa, we've got BEE, is very special regulation in terms of Black economic empowerment. So I need to know what is the local rules and regulations in your country where I'm investing, and am I adhering to those companies? You don't want to put it in your pitch deck, but it must be somewhere where I can have a view of it. And then IP protection, any intellectual property that you've got, patents, trademarks, that I can see that the patents has been filed and has been in there. So and I'll get to Ayamide, I'll get to your questions just now. So just a last point then on funding landscape, understanding that there are different types of funds. You've heard me speak about a couple of these already. I said to you that I'm an angel investor. Now, the first level of investors that you get is angel investors, and they're called angels for a very specific reason. Okay. Typically, we jokingly refer to them as friends, family, and fools. Now, your angel investor is the earliest investor. That is the investor that that will invest in you when you haven't started your operation. So Alimonde, that's your question. For a startup that hasn't started operations, and you haven't got proper financials yet, so estimated financials, yes, but you won't be able to get venture capital investors to invest in that startup. Highly unlikely. You'll most probably have to find an angel investor. And friends and family, because they have your first round of investors. I want to see that there are people that know you. I don't know you from a bar of soap. We've never met. And if your friends and family is not investing and believing in you and supporting you, it'll be very difficult to understand why a complete stranger will invest in your business when there's nobody, work people, colleagues. Okay, you always start with the people in your circle that knows you. They have a vested interest in you because if you're doing well, it'll be good for them. So that's why your first level of investors, when you haven't got a business that is up and operational already, are you media? That will be your angels, your angel investors, friends, family, and jokingly, the last one is fools, because those will be the people that got to believe in something. Now, I was an angel investor in a ski resort in Lesotho, the biggest tourism project in Lesotho, and we didn't have a very good ski resort here, but there was a lot of people that wanted to ski. And I looked at the opportunity and I saw that there was an opportunity. Now, I love snow and I love ski, and I had small children that I would have loved to take skiing, but it was too expensive to fly them to Austria and to Europe to go and ski there. So I was an angel investor in that because that's something that's close to my heart. I wasn't a friend or a family member of the people that started the resort. Okay. But I had such an affinity for skiing in my situation at that point in time that I became an investor in that. So that's an angel investor. It wasn't up, it wasn't running. There's no financials, there's no track record yet. It's just a belief that there is a market need for this. And if we get it right, there will be people that come to that. The next level of investors are your venture capital investors. Venture capital investors will typically look at something that has got some traction. You've got some demonstrated traction, customers already, and you just need to scale that business. They want highest returns because they're taking the most risk. The company hasn't proven itself yet. After venture capital, typically your venture capitalist gets bought out by private equity companies. Private equity companies are typically your funds, your pension funds. They don't want to scale as much as they are interested in the dividends, the profits that they need to pay their pensioners that go on pension. So they will invest in you so that they can get continuous returns, your profits, that they pay their pensioners back, and they've got a responsibility to pay those pensions because the money that the people have invested are their sole income for when they stop working. So private equity firms are looking at that type of funding. And then in Africa, you get a lot of, I call it the alphabet soup, the DFIs, the Development Funding Institution or Development Finance Institutions. It's all the government institutions. If you can sustain yourself, it's a deafening exercise because it's so bureaucratic and difficult to work with them. But there's a lot of people that get funds from development funding funds and grants. And then the last is the crowdfunding platforms, where nowadays you can raise through crowdfunding, can raise funding. So this another aspect that hasn't been touched on is it's choosing the right investor. I alluded to it in the beginning of this talk. I said, what is the type of investor that you want to rate? It's not just about money. The worst thing you can do is be in a situation where you so desperately need the money that you're willing to sign anything to get money. That is the last thing. They say never buy food when you're hungry. Now, I'd like to add to that, never raise money when you need the money desperately. You need to be able to sustain yourself while raising money. Okay, so you must get an investor that aligns with your vision and that's going to have his own network and that's got his own industry experience that he will be able to help you. It must be somebody that adds value to your business. his network must be able to open doors for you, so that he brings, apart from the fact that he's giving you money, he's also adding value to your business. Okay. And then when you're negotiating, make sure that you've got some form of evaluation method, that you value the valuing the company, and that you can show to the investor and agree with the investor where this company is going and what's the value that he's buying in, because he's ultimately buying shares in your company. Okay, so let's stop there and let's give people, there's a couple of questions. Emmanuel, I'll give a couple. Let me just take the questions that I saw. How truthful and touching should your story be in approach? People are really anxious about fakes and scammers contacting them. How do you know what is too much in storytelling? I think that was still a question to Sheetal. Sheetal, are you still here? Do you want to?
No, I think you can take up that, because being an investor, I think your perspective is more important. So,
Okay. Well, after your very eloquent presentation, I think you can do just as good as I do, but I'll take it. So,
yeah,
how
please.
truthful and touching should your story be? I think that is the most important thing. You also spoke about it, that it's a story that you're telling. Ultimately, you're telling me something that you're passionate about, that you really believe in, that you will do nothing else rather than this. So I want to see, if I invest in you, that it's very truthful. Okay. Emotions is always plays an important role. We are emotional beings. So yes, don't make it too emotional. But if I see that there's a real reason that you are you come up with a solution, it just lends that extra credibility to wanting to help you, wanting to support you. So yes, it must definitely be truthful, and if it is touching, it is more powerful, because emotions just. So I don't know if you add something to that.
Yeah, exactly. Like even I have heard a lot of pitches, if they connect, like the problem is really exist, maybe they could have gone through that problem, or they have seen that problem. So that story which I'm saying, not like any buff, like hooking up or anything, which is real, like the problem which you are facing it, or there'll be a reason, right? So why you're building your product, there'll be something which is already existing, through you have faced it or somebody else have faced it. So that reason, if you can actually bring it, that makes sense, that the problem is already there, and that is why we're building the solution, which already opens up that there is a market for it. So that is a story which you can actually say if it's already there.
Yes. Yes, now very true. And in terms of the scammers, just be very careful when you are using emotions. Okay, because we are brought up to see through people. Your body language, and there's body language. If you, one of my hobbies is watching these body language specialists on TV and YouTube. Okay, they'll tell you that there are certain giveaways that you do something with your hands, or you blink your eyes at a faster rate. People can pick it up, and we are being programmed from we are little. And in Africa, we do not underestimate the fact that we can see scammers. So it must be truthful. People are anxious about scammers. They will see it. They'll see through you. Be careful that you are truthful in what you're presenting, because that is one of the things that we're looking for.
Okay.
Now, next question is from Samuel. How can a startup that hasn't commenced any operations has this data? How can I position an EdTech for funding in Africa, and what should I prepare for? Okay, so Samuel, as a start, let's just dissect your question a little bit. Okay, you haven't started operations. Okay, I would start with a trial. And we've got in Stanford, we've got a program called the Design Thinking Methodology. You can Google Design Thinking. Design Thinking says, I'll start something, even if it's a trial, I'll start with 5 children. I don't have a whole school yet. I've got an EdTech solution. Okay, now I'm going to start with 5 children. And I started in this design thinking concept has been developed in Stanford. It's been developed in America, because it's all your programs. They'll release the first release, and we all struggle. The first release has got some bugs, and then we fight and we struggle because the thing doesn't work properly. And then it's the next version and the next version. Now, I would recommend that you do the same. That you start and at least demonstrate that's your first test. It's a proof of concept. That you start with a small amount and at least get some traction and say, this is what we've done. It's a good way for you to test your concept as well. So as I said, the different stages of investors, you'll most probably get an angel investor. We'll get friends, family, and fools that is investing in that area in EdTech to help you with the initial getting it off the ground, the first traction. And then we'll get another investor in and another investor until you're at the stage where you can really get a lot of capital. So do not start with something and wanting to raise $1 million, okay? So with a smaller scale that you can at least get some traction, some customers, some proof of concept. Emmanuel, Sheetal, I don't know if you want to add to that.
No, I think you've said it right. It's like the idea stage, always don't go if an idea stage for the investors, try to bootstrap it, have some little bit of revenue or traction coming in. In the first initial stage, go for the first bootstrap, then go for the angels, and then go to the investor properly, and then try to raise your funds. But only then, there'll be
Excellent.
credentials. So I feel it that way.
Yeah, I think what I've seen a lot, I've traveled Africa, and I've seen the desperation. Now, I have to say this to you. I come from the trenches of entrepreneurship, so I feel your pain. Okay, I'm not sitting here as an investor that hasn't been an entrepreneur. I was entrepreneurial. I've had many entrepreneurial ventures. Okay, and the one thing I'd like to, at the onset, immediately get out, many of them failed. Okay, no investor that comes to you, no entrepreneur that comes to you and say that he hasn't had failures, you should believe because he's lying to you. Okay, so understand how difficult it is to raise funding. But Sheetal made a very important point, bootstrapping. Okay, and I refer to proof of concept. Okay, I want you guys to understand that yes, the need is big and we all want to get businesses off the ground, but bootstrap a little bit, get some funding from friends and family, and wherever you can get investors to get this first proof of concept. Okay, and that's what Sheetal referred to, bootstrapping. Get something going. Then you'll get the different stages after that, an angel investor, after an angel investor, the venture capitalist, because each time there's a little bit more money required, but you've got something at least. And the worst thing you can do is go to investors and say to them, listen, I want you to invest in something, but we haven't started. We haven't tried it ourselves yet. How must I be able to evaluate that if I don't know you?
True. Great. Well said.
Okay, so here's so Emmanuel, you want us to look at the pitch text here that is on here?
Yeah. How can a startup that hasn't commenced an operation as this data, how can I position an edutech for funding in Africa? Okay, and what should I prepare for? Okay, that has been answered, right?
Yeah, so
okay.
That has been answered, yeah.
Yes, so we can review some decks. We have about some couple of decks that people dropped. So I will just share my screen.
So I can't get access. You must share it from your side because I can't. I tried to click on it.
All right. Yes, give me a minute. I'm sharing it from my hand. So guys, if you want us to quickly review your decks, Joanne and Sheeta to give you your deck, you can share that as well so that we can pinpoint some areas for you to adjust and some areas for you to, but I hope this session has been super insightful. Thank you so much, Sheeta, Joanne, for walking us through. It's super insightful, and thank you so much for the opportunity. So trying to bring
while you're opening, there's a question from Prince Randy. Prince Randy is saying, does my product need to start generating income before pitching to an investor? Now, as I said, if Facebook didn't generate revenue and we're definitely not profitable until many, many years later. But in those type of businesses, if you can show the cost of acquiring a customer is a lot less than the lifetime value, and you can show me I'm spending $1 or $10 getting the customer, but I'm making $100 from this customer in the lifetime. No, you don't have to be don't have to be profitable, okay? And you might not even have made a lot of revenue, okay? So does not have to start generating sufficient income. There must at least be some willingness to pay, because how do I determine what is the lifetime value of a customer if nobody pays anything? So I wouldn't recommend you pitching to an investor with zero income, but you don't have to be profitable. If you can show me that I'm taking all the money that I'm making and I'm reinvesting it, because each time I'm getting new customers at $10 a shot, that's going to be worth $100 over the lifetime. Okay, that is just a multiplication exercise. So I hope that answered that question. Sheetal?
Yeah, I also agree to that. So like maybe some pilots, or maybe if they have started some revenue, little bit of revenue at the stage, or there are people who are already using their product and ready to convert into the next level, the next stage of income. Even I think in that stage also investors will be ready to invest. They need to show that the product is actually worth the people are ready to buy, right? So in that case, they will be investing. They don't look at the profits. Of course, it's not easy to make the profit in the first year or second year. So if that is easily scalable, then of course they'll invest in.
And the words for that is pre-seed and pre-revenue. Okay,
Yeah.
so there is investors that do have that appetite. Okay, they're very specific. So ask your investors, are you only investing in pre-revenue, post-revenue, or pre-revenue? Ask you, don't waste your time, don't waste the investors' time. Make sure that you know your investors. Okay, Sheetal has said to you, know your audience. I've said to you, know your investor. Ask them, okay, listen, what is the criteria for your investment? And you find there are obviously few and far in between, because most investors wants to invest in something that already works. But it doesn't say that there aren't investors that are investing in that.
Exactly.
So choose your investor. Now, Emmanuel, you wanted to show us Kin Strategy, your creative operations partner. Now, remember the one thing, and this is that I said, from the onset, you've got a few seconds to get Sheetal and my attention. Okay, so I must immediately be able to see the need that you're seeing. So I can't see it on the first page because that's your title page, but it's fine. So your creative operations partner. Okay, so take me to slide 2. Show me then what is the need, the problem. Sheetal, you can take this. You spoke about too much information on the slide. It's like I'm trying to figure out what is the need here.
Yeah, so from my perspective, I'm saying it's like the problem, first 3 slides you should able to grasp, your attention. So in this problem, like it's too much of information. There is neither, kind of what problem I'm not able to, a lot of problems are there. So it should be one thing which has to be solved, and it is not explained I'm not able to get it in the first slide. It's about exactly is the problem. So I think it's that too much of information is here in this slide. So what are your thoughts?
I don't know if
please?
it's God touching or who's touching who. There's that picture that's Da Vinci, is it Leonardo da Vinci did, where God was touching Adam's finger. So I see the finger, the graphics. So your graphic needs to talk about the problem. Okay, so too much information, like Sheetal has said, I can't immediately see, and then the graphic doesn't talk to me about burning out teams. Okay, so show me, if you haven't got the product yet, show me what it is, what is the need. Okay, if you want to solve global hunger, okay, or water scarcity, Africa struggles with that, and you show me a tap that's dripping or a dam that's empty. Okay, I'll see it. It's emotional for me. I connect to the problem. There's no water, no drinking water. Okay, so whereas this graphic is just a graphic, it doesn't speak to burnt out teams, low quality, creative output, delayed deliverables. I don't get the need. I don't see the problem. I don't feel it.
Yeah,
Okay, so
exactly.
to anybody that's sharing this, please, I apologize. We're trying to help you. It's not personal. I'm not trying to shoot you down.
Yep.
I'm trying to just, okay.
Yeah, it's true.
And
Like
get to
we
the
just
solution
trying
here,
to,
Emmanuel. Sorry, Sheetal, go ahead.
I know we were just trying to, help you, like, to make it better for the investors. Because if you're not even pitching, the investor sees this, he or she should understand, right, from the pitch deck itself what you're trying to solve.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to tell more of
Yeah.
here.
Oh, no, yeah, I understand. I'm listening.
Thank you.
Okay, and then the next thing is my insight and experience. I'm not seeing the solution. Also, here is a lot too much. Okay, it talks about you as a CEO of a tech company, juggled. Okay, too much information. So I would like to see you at work, a picture of you at work, struggling with the need to overworked. Maybe show that, but you could make this very short. You can talk about you where your experience is when he talks about the team. Show the logos of the companies that you've worked for. Okay, so problem, need, big. What is the customer needs? Slide 1, slide 2. What is your solution? My example of the dam empty. Okay, first slide. Somebody sitting there, no water. It's dripping water from the tap. I can see the problem. The solution will be your machine that pumps, or that is a drilling machine with water piling out. That will be the solution. Okay, can you see that in the picture in your head already?
Sorry, I
So
didn't.
Sheetal, you want to start with this one?
This is the same thing, right? So now what is this? Is it overwritten or?
Yeah, I think it's over. It's
It's
override. That's our
overwritten, right? Okay,
strategy. Yeah.
okay. It's a strategy. International customer creative. Okay. Here also, like, how many slides are there in this?
Uh,
You're building
just
international.
15.
15. Yeah. Again,
Yeah,
like
but
it
too
should
much
be
information.
Yep.
Yeah, Adisha, it is Adishwa, nah?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
is it
this one.
Adinarine? Yeah. Adeshwa, too much information, and we nowadays with all the artificial intelligence, pitch deck creators, Gamma, and the things, it makes all these decks and all the pictures make it relate to your thing. I have less text. I don't want to read. I need to understand the bullet points. Okay,
Yep.
you saw that Sheetal slides was even the slide where there was a lot of information where she had to convey a lot of things. You could easily look at the highlighted problem, solution, market opportunity, business model, traction, competitive advantage. So she had to say a lot of things because all of those things is part of one concept. Okay, but I can immediately see them, whoops. And there wasn't a long sentence behind it. How will you make money? Okay, any progress on early wins is enough after in her thing. The other slide she had was common mistakes. It was 6 blocks. You can immediately see the 6 blocks. It wasn't sentences, it wasn't paragraphs. So you've got sentences and paragraphs here that makes it long for an investor. And remember, I get these things, I need to quickly scan through it in 2 minutes and get an
Yes.
idea of what is the thing. Okay, Isabi venue, investor pitch. Okay, so this one is a draft. It's fine, no problem. Let's look at
Yeah.
it. What is the problem? Okay, you'll pretty it up still. Whose pitch is this? Raise your hand and then go to the problem statement there. Finding a suitable event venue in Nigeria is frustrating. You don't have to go in time consuming and you can just finding suitable venue is frustrating. Organizers rely on Instagram posts. Lack of verified information price. Okay, I can see that problem. Still a lot of information. Which one do you want to focus on for me? It's enough to tell me that finding a suitable venue is difficult and frustrating and time consuming. Okay, so what is the solution? Sital, you want to add to that?
No, I think I'm fine. Like, able to understand.
Solution? Okay, now you're telling me Isabi Venue is a digital platform. Okay, you can just focus on Isabi Venue's logo. Okay, you don't have to tell me it's a digital platform that helps users. This Isabi, the logo, that'll just show me what you've got. If you've got a screenshot, that'll be even more powerful to show you how this digital platform looks like. Okay, and then you can have 3 bullets: discover verified venues, filter by event type, and you can show me that. Now, the one thing, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Okay.
Yeah.
As I said, if you show me your screenshot with all of these things that you do, with a little arrow or a bubble that says filter by type, budget, amenity. Okay, view photos, you don't have to tell me. There will be a photo of a venue on the screen, on your screen. Then one picture will show me all of those things immediately. Action. $100 verified venues, MVP ready. 100 plus venues. Okay, so it's a lot better. It's a lot less information than the previous pitch deck had. Okay, you can now show it to us in picture.
Yeah, it's at least like able to understand what you're trying to, tell here. What is your product about?
Yeah. So it's more concise. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, you can now, when you beautify it, you make it nicer. You can show us how does this thing look. Adishwa, you have a hand up. You have a question about this one, or shall we come back to you after this one?
Adishwa, can you hear us? Your hand is raised. Do you have a question?
Yes, so I wanted to ask, first off, the slides, like what's the maximum slides to keep it to? And then, because of the, like, basically you said my slides were like giving so much like information. So basically it's like to summarize, but what if, because I feel like I'm a very expressive person. So if I summarize, I don't know how to put it, but like if I'm summarizing, I feel like I'm not putting out like the exact, like the whole picture. So is that like a,
you need to,
so like,
so I'll give you 3 options. Okay, in life, not all things are the same. Okay, different horses for courses, different slide decks for different purposes. A summary slide deck is 5 slides. Okay, you have got a mid-size is 10 slide decks. Typically, I wouldn't go for more than 10. If you've gotten me already on the 5-slide pitch deck, the elevator pitch, okay, which just tells me the main things, and you've got me interested, I'll ask for more. I say, well, this sounds interesting. I'd like to know more. Then you can send me the 10-slide pitch deck. Typically, people skip the 5 deck, the elevator pitch, and they go immediately to the 10 slides. But 10 is good, okay? And then if you really need to now see me again, you can have a last pitch deck for closing the deal. That's anything between 15 and 20, 25 slides, okay? In that is your complete, you've already got me interested on your 10-slide deck. You'd never send me the 30 slides. Okay, we at Stanford work with a transformation plan where we force the companies to have a complete full pitch deck that is 30 slides long, that they must tell everything about the company, and you must fit everything in 30 pages. So how do you show that is the trick? Sheetal, you want to add?
It's the same, like maximum of 10 slides. Then in case you can just put whatever you feel like in the annexure. If there is time and investor want to go further into it, they can go for it. So maximum of 10 slides because the time is very limited, right? So try to keep it very crisp and short.
Thank you.
And then I can have you can have your
Also,
your deal room. Remember, you have a virtual deal room that
Yeah.
you can send me to so that I can see the other things. I can see a more comprehensive pitch deck. I can see your data and your results and your
Financials.
contacts in your deal room, financials and
Okay.
everything.
Yes, we have a couple of deck to review, just about 3 more. So we can spend like at least 3
Okay.
to 5 minutes on one. So we can at
Hey.
least address some of them, basically.
Probably Pascal Panjuri asked if we can review. So here the team, as I said, the team, you can show me company logos where these people have worked or
Yeah.
some experience that shouts to me they have experience in what they want to do.
Yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah,
All right,
so
that's
let's
then for
Yeah.
Isabel Venue. Then we
okay, let's
have
go to
another
another
one,
one.
which is, yeah, we have about 3 more after this. So we could just go over it. So this is one.
Okay. So show us the need. Own your sheet. Okay. What is the problem? Apart from changing the world. Slide 2. Get too much information. I can't read the whole paragraph. The mess we can't ignore. At least I see the toilet paper is killing the environment. Trees are falling. There's a little bit more expression. Sheetal, help me here. Too much information.
Yeah. I think, maybe they can first and the the second and third slide can be combined, with this information and make it like what exactly is the problem can be into one slide because the
Yeah.
statistics and other things and the image actually shows a problem. So this can be combined and make it crisp.
What is good about this is I can see the combination of the picture
Yeah.
where it's cutting down trees and the lack of basic washing water. I can see that. Okay, so that
Exactly.
picture is powerful. You don't need to show me anything other than that. This is the
Yeah,
problem.
because the connection is there and we're able to understand the problem, right? So
Yeah. Now, how do you solve this problem? Okay. So you're solving trees being cut down and basically clean washing water. So what is the solution?
solution.
Emmanuel, go up.
Next
Or-
slide, please.
What is the solution? Emmanuel?
Yeah, his,
Yeah. Our role in solving the crisis. Okay, so
Yes, I'm
not
with you.
cutting down the trees plus the toilet equals. You skipped the previous one now. Let's just see that. One sheet, 2 problems, infinite impact. It's short. That's almost like what you can say, that slide. We don't need to put in, we produce affordable eco toilets we made from recycled paper, reduce landfill. You can reduce that even shorter. Use ChatGPT
it's understood.
to make it shorter.
Okay.
And if you want to show graphs, okay, graphs is like a picture.
Yes.
Yeah, the market
Again, same
size.
too much pressure. Why now? Okay, now I like the market size. Okay. It talks to me about what, and I will put where did I get this information as a small clickable link. If I want to check the market size, if I need to, if I'm investing in something, I do know the market. Okay, I wouldn't be investing in something if I don't know the market. But if you've got a link, hyperlink to where did you get the statistics, that it's not on the slide.
Yeah.
Now, one of the typical mistakes we make, common mistakes, Sheetal's slide, okay, is just go back to the previous slide, where you are making extrapolations or thumb suck estimates. Okay, I want to know how you're going to get 3% of the market. Okay, if you're saying 3%, don't just take a number and say there, you're going to do 3% of the SAM. Why? How you base it should be bottom up and top down. It needs to, the projections going from the top down isn't sufficient to convince an investor that you will be able to attain the service of obtainable market of 1.42 billion naira. Okay, you need to show me how many customers do you have, how many in a region, how many sort of, it also needs to be bottom up.
Yeah. Realistic, which is numbers you should show.
Realistic. Yeah. So, Sheetal, you spoke about unrealistic financial numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. Realistic financial numbers. Yes. Rolling out the sheets, target audience. Okay. Urban eco shoppers, bulk buyers, retail, wash and go, move, farmers. Okay. So yeah. Again, too much information, and then those are segmentation. I would do in a later deck, in the 30-page deck. Doesn't have to tell me now the segmentation in this deck. You're pitching me. See it happens and we're making it count. I love the play of words.
And
See it happen. Our roll call. Sheetal, you wanted to go?
And
This
like,
is their
should we
team.
put, a team means employees are like your co-founder or advisor or mentors, that's normally taken, right? And to be hired and all, you don't have to mention it here as like normally the pitch deck, even I don't
Yeah.
see and I don't do it. So who's your founder?
Yeah.
Like the team, the core team is mainly needed. And in case if you want some advisors or mentors who are actually working with you, that can also be added, maybe to give more add value to your product.
Yeah. So show the people that you have got in your team. Okay.
Yep.
Um,
Not someone who's yet
and
to come.
show me their relation and their expertise in the field. And maybe you
Yep.
can look at advisors if you to say that if I do not have expert skills, and even I use advisors. I've been doing this for 35 years. So I think I have a fair amount of experience in raising in finance and investing. But even I have advisors on you go to synagosvc.com, my website, you'll see I've got one of the most prolific venture capital investors on the continent as an advisor, because I'm investing in Africa. I want to show that I've got an understanding of venture capital and Africa. And I also have an advisor from Silicon Valley, one of the early investors in Facebook, Uber, Venmo, Concur. So that link just gives my credibility, adds my credibility. I show you where I've worked. I'm with Stanford Business School, has a program called Seed. I'm a business advisor. So this is where I come from. It gives that credibility. Logos, pictures, tells you that the person you're speaking to has got that experience. Okay.
Yeah.
Steve,
Because of our time, we're going to review this one last. This is going to be our last speech deck review.
Okay.
So as anyone wants to review, you can also reach out to us. Joanne also is
already looks
also,
better.
You can go ahead.
Sheetal, you've already see there, no? Already better because
Yeah.
I can see this is something with stay sharp drip style. Immediately, even the first slide shows me style, watch, clothing,
Yeah.
a chic gentleman with a tie. You see it?
Yeah. Yes. It's something related to style, menswear problem. Okay. Table of.
Okay, so I don't need to see your content. Show me the next slide. What's the problem? Starts very strong. Now show me the problem. Poor fit, inconvenience, high cost. Great. You don't need to say all those other things. Just enough for me to say poor fit, inconvenience, high cost. I understand that. I don't always look as stylish. Maybe I should get this person to help me. Okay. But I can understand poor fit, inconvenience, and high cost as a gentleman wanting to be stylish. See the problem?
Yeah, true.
Okay, so you don't need to put all the other things. So what is the solution? How are you going to solve my problem? Better fit made easy. Order with ease. 4 to 8 hour delivery. 48-hour delivery. Affordable by design. It's enough said. Okay, you don't need, again, you need the bullet points at the bottom. You need all the paragraphs. Shitan?
Yeah, that's true. That's enough. It's understood what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you've got a picture of a
products.
gentleman again. Maybe you can show the tailor.
Right. Okay.
This is a lot better because it shows you the solutions, the products.
Yeah.
It's a little bit much, too many things on the page, but you don't need to talk about your special offerings, the combos and the gift box. You
Yeah,
need to talk
just
about suit variety, corporate sides, and accessories. That to me is the core.
correct.
And
Yeah,
you
the
show
rest all
me
is like
a
add-ons.
gentleman looking good in a suit. Yeah. Market size. Okay. And there I can see the picture of the clothes. You see how they're related? The clothes relates to what I'm expecting to see here. Okay, there's a whole range of suits hanging on a stack. Immediately the product speaks to what am I seeing? Tam, Sam, and Somers there. It's good. So you can, if I invest in suits in Nigeria, I would obviously know there's some of those stats to know if it's true or trusted. Okay, key competitive advantage is a good point, and a good point to have. I think, Shital, you spoke about competitive advantage. No, yeah, competitive analysis. You spoke about it. Good
Yes.
to have that in. How are you going to do it better? Okay.
Correct.
He's talking about trusted convenience, affordable quality, tailored flexibility. Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, I would reduce the paragraph at the bottom because I don't have time to read that. What is
Yes.
2 words, 3 words? Shitan slide about crafting the winning formula pitch deck has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 things on it, but it's short. I can see it. And if I want to read anything about it, I can read 3 words, 4 words. You don't need to give me the whole paragraph. Next slide, Emmanuel.
Okay.
Action.
Hmm.
You go, Shital.
Yeah, the traction is something which like you have included the testimonials and the stay. So the testimonials is really good. Like
Good.
showed it. Yeah. So that's from that itself, like our
Yeah.
eyes go to the testimonials, right? So that's something happening. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Immediately. People have actually used you, they like you. And I like the line.
Correct.
14.2 million naira, 200 unique customers. It's
Yeah.
immediately showing it. Start the summer, you're doing something, you've got that 200 customers. Now I'm listening. Okay, well, I'm looking in the testimonials, very powerful. This is what people say about me. Yes. Good slide. Good to have that in. Business model. I like the graph. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Go to market.
But I'd like to see that J curve. I'd like to see where you are now and where it's going to go up. Go to market, 12 months target, the channels. You see how you use channels? You use WhatsApp logo or Bitcoin logo, whatever logo that is. Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Okay. You don't have to write any of things. It's easily recognizable go-to-market strategy with Facebook and Instagram. Yes. People immediately can relate to it.
Yeah. Okay. Team. Yeah.
Team. 4
Good.
pictures. I can see them. They all look suited and tight. Okay. It speaks to this competence that you're selling me. Your team needs to look the part. Okay.
Yeah. Great.
Would be better if the last gentleman also had a suit on and there were some logos and your ask is 300,000 naira. Wait, what this will unlock in 6 months. Okay, e-commerce store setup, company growth. Yes, that's a good slide. Sita,
Yeah, that's like it's clearly understood. Like, what is it needed? It's clarified. Risk mitigations.
yeah,
I don't think this is required in a pitch deck. I don't know about your views
yeah,
because
don't need it.
so much of
Yeah. I will know some risks and I will have risks in my mind and I'll ask you about the risks. A roadmap is
Mhm.
good. Where are we going? We
Yeah,
need this,
yes.
then that, then next. Too much
This
information
is
though.
okay, right. Yeah, but the other like few slides is really good.
Yeah, this is going to be the last one
Very good.
for the day.
Okay.
Okay,
3 minutes left. Let's shoot. Problem.
who we are.
I want to know who you are and what's your problem with you solving. Get me to the problem
Yeah.
first. I want to first see where the problem is before I understand what you're offering me. A UGGR, centralized platform where companies can seamlessly book. Now that start with the problem. Long waiting time, poor pre-booking options, transportation. Okay, so too much problems. So what is the
Again,
actual problem?
yeah. The next slide, please. Okay, tourism,
So
e-commerce.
it's what they say there. They're the Expedia of. I know Expedia. I know what Expedia does. So you're saying you're the Expedia of Nigeria. Okay, that's your solution. Okay, see there, Uyghur.net is the Expedia of Nigeria. That's almost your slogan. We are the Expedia of Nigeria. We are the Uber of Ghana. Okay, people know. Has some risks if you do that, because then the question will be, well, how come Expedia is not working there? Why not Expedia? Why do you need to sell me Expedia when you're trying to be better? Then you need to show to me Expedia doesn't work because. So I didn't get the problem to come to
Yeah.
the solution yet. Solution is tourism, e-commerce, and compare.
Okay, should
Okay.
I
We
go
go
to
to
the
the
problem
next slide.
statement or to the solution?
No,
Okay.
we've seen the project. We've seen the problem. It's too much information.
Yeah.
I'm not getting it. There's the business model. Aggregators like Uber and Airbnb will sell tickets and charter private. You need to be clear on your business model. How? Showing me this. Okay. Sita, what do you think?
Yeah, like from the starting itself, I didn't understand. So I'm not getting the flow of it. Like, what is it? I am able to see e-commerce, tourists, and I don't know exactly who's, because these three different industries, right? So what exactly trying to solve, we are not able to understand.
Yeah. One more slide up. They talk about the next slide after the business model, Emmanuel.
Go to market. Okay.
The go-to market.
So it is,
You see, this is clearer. The go-to
yeah.
market is clear. People, as a photo, I can see they are looking on their device. Okay, whether it be the screen of the phone here at the bottom, the WhatsApp little logo there, or Facebook, or you can put Instagram like the previous one. I can see the go-to-market strategy. No words is needed. I can immediately see, and that gives me the taxi market. So this is for travelers. So the global bus travelers is 72 million, West African travelers and Nigerian students. Okay. So how do you get from global to West African to Nigerian? That confuses me. If you're a Nigerian
and students
tour
specifically.
operator, if you are the, yes. So if you're saying that I'm using Expedia of Nigeria, then the global travel bus travelers is irrelevant. It's only you're targeting Nigeria here. You are the Expedia for Nigeria. Then your tab is Nigeria, the total market in Nigeria. Okay?
Yes.
West African travel is also not relevant because I'm not targeting them. I'm actually selling to students. So then all the students in Nigeria, all the students is my total market. all the students in the towns where I am going to start off in Lagos, okay, will be my next level. Traction.
Yeah.
Launch our website, 6,000 registered users, 500 WhatsApp community. Okay. It's got some traction.
Good.
You could better
Yeah.
explain those bullet points. And I would like to see their app, Sheetal. That's just like my iPhone homepage. Like, where's your app? You've got the app.
Some screenshot
You've
of it
got
or
traction,
something.
you've-
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't show me my Apple screenshot. I've got that screenshot myself. Show me your screenshot. Competitive advantage. Good.
Someday.
It's a quick slide to see if I recognize Intercity, Quick Bus, and the other buses. Being Nigerian, I might have, and then I will see that their solution is the only one that has AI price and digital ticking and local ads. Okay, and roadmap. The roadmap can be more descriptive because I Western bus operators, Southern East bus operators, and hotels in Eastern. So maybe that's the way that they're going to go about. Forecast, what are we talking about?
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's it. Graph could be a little bit better, but it shows me I'm standing with $2,000 up to $6,000 in year 3, but it's not going to return me a lot of money. So how much are you asking if your forecast is showing me 6,000 or is it 6 million? Okay, so the forecast isn't clear on what do you want, how much money do you need, and what am I going to get out of it? There's the team, okay? Pretty pictures. I don't know whether that is a good team or a strong team.
Okay.
Okay, so
2
I see
million.
the picture, but I don't know what their capabilities are. 2 million naira. Okay, and what is it going to be used for? You've got that roadmap, but it doesn't say how much it's going to cost to roll out. Okay, so if you ask me
So
something,
that's-
show me how much are you going to, how do you spend it?
Oh, I think that's what, like, for software, for charters, for, is it 40% for
Yeah,
SGA? So that's
yeah.
what.
So that's maybe good. Yeah, so it shows, but yeah, so it wasn't so sources of capital, uses of capital. So yes,
Yeah.
20% is going to go to that. Okay, so there's a picture of the bus. So are you going to buy the bus or you're going to do the platform? If you show the platform, it's an iScreen of your iPhone, of your app screen. Okay, if it's the bus you're trying to finance, then it's the bus that you show me. Okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right,
this-
and
Okay.
that's the end of the pitch review. So thank you so much, Mr. Joan. Thank you, Shita. I think the team is fully, the participants are actually fully revived, and they will definitely go back. So review and update their pitch deck. Thank you so much for the opportunity, for taking your time, right? And thank you, Shita, as
thank
well,
you.
for taking your time as well
Thank
to walk the team through, the participants through, and ensure that they become a better version, and they could be able to position themselves well enough to get the right investment, basically. I think that is all for now. We've been able to work. Guys, this recording will be available, right? And you could go over it again. We would be sharing the recording to your mail, after we've reviewed and it's available. All right. So quickly about Imran. Imran is a business plan and analytical firm. We help businesses like yours strive better in the market space. We, just because of the fact that we've been able to work with over for the past 5 years, and worked with over 250 plus clients. And based on the needs of our clients, we discover that many a times they do not understand the basics towards becoming very much ready and in the investment world, right? And one of the major issues about startup is that they do not have the right financial capacity to set up their initiative. So, which is why we had to set up a community for global founders. We have set up the community for global founders where we bring together insightful, well-seasoned facilitators to come seasonally. We are going to be having this program every month, right? Where we'll be bringing on board the best investors, founders, venture capitals, to come talk to startups globally, on what they need to know to grow and how they can actually make judicious use of trends and opportunities that come their way. All right, guys. You'll be hearing more from us via mail and all of that. And we are very much glad that you came over. So with that being said, I wish us all the best. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for the facility. Thank you, Mr. Joan, once again. Thank you, Shita. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And this has brought us to the end of the session, and do have a lovely evening. Bye for now. Yes.
Bye. Thank you.
you.
Bye.
Goodbye.